Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2050 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today is commemorated as World UFO Day. I want to believe these are the words of notorious X-Files hero Fox Mulder, who convinced an entire generation that the truth is out there. We just have to find it out. But on July 2nd, it won't only be sci-fi enthusiasts trying out their ET sleuthing skills, as everyone on the planet Earth will have opportunity to celebrate World UFO Day. UFOs have been stuff of legend for centuries, but it wasn't until the 1950s that freaky flying saucers grabbed national and international mainstream attention. Since then, UFOs have captured the minds of old and young alike, and witness stories have proliferated around the world. World UFO Day serves as a way for everyone to come together and watch the skies on the same night in search of UFOs. But that's not it. Its only purpose. Many see the holiday as a way to spread knowledge and awareness of UFOs, making a case for existence and hoping to make disciples out of dubious. So why July 2nd? For many, this date represents the anniversary of famed and all about confirmed 1947 incident in Roswell, New Mexico. Believers claim a UFO crash landed here, deep in the American Southwest, but that the government has been covering it up ever since. What do you believe? Today is also commemorated as World Sports Journalist Day. World Sports Journalist Day is celebrated every year on July 2nd, also referred to as International Sports Journalist Day. This day was created in 1994 by the International Sports Press Association to celebrate its 70th anniversary. Sports journalism developed during the 1800s but was centered on elitist sports and was more focused on reporting the social context of sports events. In 1920s, the profession began to take shape as newspapers dedicated more time and space to sports journalism. In 1994, the International Sports Press Association, AIPS, celebrated World Sports and Journalist Day for the first time in the honor of its 70th anniversary. In 1924, the AIPS was founded in Paris, France. The L'Association Internationale de la Presse Sportive. However, the association is now headquartered in the Olympic capital of Lausanne, Switzerland. The AIPS is an independent organization with 160 member associations from which it receives funding through membership fees and the contribution of other international bodies and federations. According to its website, the aim of the AIPS is to enhance the cooperation between its member association in defending sport and the professional interest of members, to strengthen the friendship, solidarity, and common interest between sports journalists of all nations, and to assure the best possible working conditions for members. So, sports journalism is a type of writing that focuses on sports centered topics. Sports journalism developed in the 1800s. Sports journalism is a type of writing that focuses on sports centered topics. Sports journalism developed in the 1800s, specifically the 1820s and 1830s. At the onset, reporting focused primarily on elite sports such as horse racing and boxing, mainly targeted at the upper class since newspapers were beyond the reach of the masses. However, the development of the penny press opened the door of affordable newspaper production, ultimately making them more accessible to the lower strata of society. The 20th century witnessed a massive boom in popularity of sports journalism. In 1880, only 0.4% of space was dedicated to sports in newspapers. This figure rose to 20% by the 1920s as newspapers began hiring reporters exclusively for sports coverage. Today, sports journalism utilizes not only print media but also radio, television, and internet. Sports journalism takes off. The era of sports journalists begins 1820s to 1830s. Today is also commemorated as Freedom from Fear of Speaking Day on July 2nd, the world over, in recognition of the fear of speaking in public experienced by many people. People can use this opportunity to discuss this problem and its causes, what they can do to overcome their anxiety about speaking in public and get their thoughts and ideas across freely. This day encourages those affected to come forward and share why they feel afraid and find others who understand the predicament. It's also a day for people to share tips on how to become more confident. Today is also commemorated as I Forgot Day on July 2nd. I Forgot Day is celebrated every year on July 2nd and is dedicated to forgetfulness. While we may be surrounded by calendars all around, while physical or digital, we all still forget. Are you prone to forget important dates, occasion, or tasks? Fret not. There's a day you can celebrate. Note it down so you don't forget it next time. Today is also commemorated as a Made in USA Day in US by consumers and manufacturers as a way to boosting sales for locally made products. The day is observed just before Independence Day when patriotic feelings are at an all-time high, which makes it an event of great splendor. Made in USA Day encourages the manufacturing of goods in America and customers to choose those goods instead of those that are imported from elsewhere. The day also celebrates the companies and brands that manufacture their products in the United States and who offer employment top quality services to their customers. Today is also commemorated as National Anisette Day in US. But what exactly is anisette? Anisette is a liqueur derived from humble aniseed spice. Aniseed from the anise herb is also what gives lysorise and fennel flavor. In its natural form, anisette tastes dry and bitter. That's why some distillers sometimes add sugar syrup to make it liquor sweet and palatable. Countries like Spain, Italy, Portugal, and France are leading countries in drinking anisette. And while it is rarely consumed on its own, anisette is a common ingredient in many cocktails. But remember, drinking is injurious to your health and causes a lot of problems. Today is also National Anthem and Flag Day in Curaçao. The island of Curaçao is officially part of Netherlands but has a separate identity. National flag and anthem. The national flag was adopted in 1984. This day, which is an official public day in the country, it annually celebrated as a national flag and anthem day with happiness and pride. Official functions and cultural events take place in Plaza Brion and the village of Barber. Curaçao is now independent but remains a constituent country. In other words, it is one of the four parts of countries that make up the Kingdom of Netherlands. Today is also commemorated as National Disco Day in New Zealand. Every year on July 2nd, this day is salute to all things disco, from the music and dancing to the entire culture of 1970s. National Disco Day is an unofficial observance that focuses on the genre of dance music that wielded significant influence on modern music, developing into an entire subculture over the 1960s and 1970s in America. While the popularity of disco declined in America around the 1980s, it only gained popularity in the rest of the world, including the New Zealand. Today is also commemorated as National Report Military Fraud Day in US. Fraud Accounts National Report Military Fraud Day on July 2 raises awareness about the extent and implications of military fraud and educates the public on monetary incentives for reporting the same to relevant authorities. Fraud accounts for about 10% of total military spending. Military fraud costs the governments across around $50 billion and dollars, and out of $500 billion that the Department of Defense or DoD spends annually. It is hardly surprising that from a fiscal point of view, poses a grave national problem. It is for the reason that Congress has allowed Department of Justice or DOJ to award incentives of up to 30% of the total recovered through the frauds disclosed by whistleblowers. These may be against government contractor, any particular program like the military and Department of Defense, Homeland Security, and Medicare. Today is also commemorated as Special Recreation for the Disabled Day in US. by acknowledging the importance of recreational activities in the lives of individuals with disabilities. Did you know that around 15% of the world population lives with some form of disability? It is everyone's right to live with respect, and engaging in some form of recreational activity go a long way in accomplishing that goal. Special recreation can refer to loads of activities like sports, running, painting, and performing arts. Historically, people with disabilities have had limited access to physical recreation, but as the society's view of people with disabilities and their rights have been evolving, the topic of physical recreation activities for people with disabilities has undergone a transition, is now seen as a must. And finally, today, last commemoration for the day. Today is also commemorated as Unity Day in Zambia. Which is a public holiday celebrated on Tuesday following the first Monday of July. This year it falls on July 2nd. The day is always part of two-day break, as Unity is always the day after Heroes Day. The goal of Unity Day is to promote national unity among 70 or more groups that comprise the Zambian people. In Zambia, there is no single dominating ethnic group, yet 9 distinct groups make up the bulk of the population. There is also a great deal of linguistic, cultural, and religious variety. So, with this, we shall conclude this today's commemorations, and we observe few minutes of silence for the world peace and harmony before concluding our sessions. So, let's kindly observe few minutes of prayer and meditation for achieving, promoting global peace and harmony. Thank you everyone for joining us on these sessions. So quickly fill up the feedback form which has been raised in the form of polls. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.